This is a walkthrough of the types of problems that you'll see on the preliminary skills lab worksheet, specifically the ones where you have a curve and you have to first treat it like it's a graph, like a position versus time graph, and you have to figure out the sign of the tangent line. And then second, you have to treat it like it's an actual physical path of an object in space, and you have to figure out the direction of the vector that's tangent to the path and in the direction of motion. So, okay, so a problem like this, you know, you'd have a curve that would do whatever, okay? And you'd have some point selected. Let's say this is the point that we're interested in. And it would ask some questions, you know, first about if this is a graph, let's say that it's a position versus time graph. What's the sign of the slope of the tangent line? And then it would say, okay, now it's the same curve, but it has a totally different meaning now. Now let's say that the meaning is this is a path in space and the object's moving from the left side to the right side. And we want to sketch a vector that's tangent to the path in the direction of motion. Okay, well, I'm going to start out by, for each of these, I'm going to start fresh with this shape, and I'm going to just copy it so I can reproduce it. Okay, so for part A, we're going to assume that this is a position versus time graph, and we're going to try to figure out whether the slope of the tangent line at this point is positive or 0 or negative. Okay, so the first thing to do is draw the two nearby points. You don't really have to draw them if you can visualize them, but pause the video for a second and draw the two nearby points. So something like that. And now the next step is to draw the line that goes through those points and just let it continue. So that was ugly. That's a little better. Okay, so there is the line that's tangent to the path at the point of that black dot. Then the last step is to interpret this. Does that have a positive, a 0, or a negative slope? That's a positive slope, and so the answer here is the tangent line at that point has a positive slope. And if this is a position versus time graph, it turns out that what that means is that at that instant, the object is moving in the positive direction. And we'll talk about stuff like that more in detail later. Okay, so now what about part B? So now we're no longer thinking of this as a position versus time graph, as a graph. We're thinking of it as a two-dimensional path in space. I don't know how that dot got moved here, but now we're looking at a different location than this one, a different instant than this one. All right, we'll do it. Okay. Now we're trying to find a vector that's tangent to this path and in the direction of motion. We're assuming that this is moving left to right. That's what we were told. And so the first step is to figure out the direction of the tangent. Well, this, I guess, will at least give us a little more practice because this, the instant we're looking at is a little bit different. Okay, so pause the video for a second and draw the tangent line to this graph. So, okay, we'll go like that. The tangent goes between those two, and you can extend it this way and that way. Okay? And now we want the vector that's in the direction of the motion. So that's going this way. I'll erase this part, and then we're left with the vector that's tangent to the path in the direction of motion. And it turns out that in this case, if this curve represents the path of an object in space, this arrow is in the direction that the object is moving at that instant.